Yeah, almost.
Are we going to have a quorum? Or we have people
We need
all on
two
Zoom?
more. So
Are they going to be on Zoom?
I don't know.
Marlo, did anybody say they were going to be on Zoom?
Karen.
That's three. So guys, the only one.
Peter? No, Peter?
Peter's not going to make it today.
So it's Guy and I.
He might be campaigning.
No, he has to watch his son.
Okay, because I know there's Board of Ed too. I thought you might want to go to that because he's running. Isn't he running?
I don't know, but I
Yes.
see him on
I think he
every
is.
other board. It seems like he's on it. So I'm like, wow.
Is he on something else other than conservation? Wait, I can.
No. All right, this meeting is called to order, and since this meeting is being recorded, both video and audio, we ask that if you're going to speak, please state your name, and if you're not speaking, please keep your microphone on mute. I know you know how to do that, Karen. Yeah, you're a meeting person. Yep. So we got no feedback. I'm already at the end, Maureen.
Okay, just trying to help.
It's all right. There's only 4 of us here anyway. So let's remember not to speak over one another, since there are people coming in remotely. And now Maureen will take the roll call for us, please.
Okay, Chairman DiLorenzo.
Present.
Tom Heisler.
Tom is not coming. Well, he
He
might
has to
come
be
late.
excused.
He has to be. Yes.
Guy Hoffman.
Present.
Carl Lewis.
He also has an excuse letter.
Karen Pagliaro.
Here.
Mary Catherine LaRose.
Here.
Rob Ramsey.
He also let you know there
Yeah,
was going to be.
absent.
Peter Zaragoza.
Absent.
So you have a quorum of 4 if you see. Oh no. Everybody,
Yes.
Everybody didn't go. Sorry. Thank you. Got it all too.
Thank you, Maureen. So first order of business would be last month's meeting minutes. Did everybody get a chance for this?
Can I, excuse me a minute, Karen, can you just confirm that you can hear Chairman DiLorenzo? Because we're using a new microphone and I want to make sure you can hear him and not just me.
Can you hear me, Karen?
Yes, I'm sorry, I was on mute again.
You can hear
I
me?
can hear everybody, so I'm not having any problems at all.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We have to not receive off this and receive off that.
Oh.
So earlier when we were
Well, we got green lights.
setting it up.
Seems like it's working. So back to the September meeting minutes.
I have some proposed changes to them.
And they
Do
are?
we want to
No, we
make
want
a
to.
motion and then go through the edits? Or?
Well, Maureen changed them already.
There was one thing I did change about the
To make the changes.
the minutes, the section on 550, 554 Berlin Turnpike, I had written separately for the comments that went to the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Okay.
And failed to give those to Marlo to put into the minutes. And it was her version from the minutes she used. So mine said, Vice Chairman Hoffman commented with concern that runoff and drainage from parking and hardscape areas are all heading toward and may impact the quality of the existing pond and wetland area on the west side of the property and potential drainage into the Mattabesset River. Ideally, improved trails could incorporate access to town-owned property and Sportsman Pond. Any proposed or future links and access should be secured through easements, noting, however, that there doesn't seem to be room for any public parking or access. Also noted that the north side of the property has potential for erosion along the river and the proposed improvements push limits adjacent to sensitive areas.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good. The one thing that I was going to mention was I think one aspect of it that concerned me is that they're going to put in their trails, like on their development plan, wherever they want. They're going to dead end on Sportsman Pond. So part of what I was concerned about was that if at all possible, it should be coordinated. Those locations should be coordinated, but we're going to only really do that if the Water Control Commission and the Town Council decide that they really want to improve access to the property. So it's
which
it's
is
a two-step kind of
challenge.
which is a bigger challenge. But as it is written, or in their plan now, they have a couple of trails that go to the edge of the property,
Which is
their property, and then
is that the pond, or is there
well, I mean,
wooded area?
there's
Camera.
it's right up against Sportsman Pond property. So I don't know, is that where, like if you're gonna have people on a trail and it's gonna end, and you have the town property right there, is that where they're gonna access the property, whether you want them to or not? Or?
I think they will. I think they looked at the report that we had done last year, but we can double check that and write in this trail. I could make the recommendation staff standpoint based on feedback from the committee, from conservation, that trails shouldn't dead end into another property, really, any other property. It doesn't matter whether they dead into town property or your
not.
neighbor's property. It just shouldn't dead end into a property, but that we have a coordination or a condition in the site plan that future trails be connected, that they're being connected and that it be left within the approval for trail development.
And what the other stuff that you had sounded really good. So so we could leave that, and you could just add that to your other notes. And that's fine with me. And then the only other one is under commissioner comments. We just need to get rid of an N in the first line. I don't know if that was changed or not. About the Beaver Dam.
Damn.
Damn.
That's why spell checked in. Yeah.
Joy. I'll have to say for another time.
And that was the most interesting to me
because I knew this.
Yeah.
It didn't get me out of trouble.
Oh, that's fun.
Daughter ended up
Excuse
working
me,
a while in dam safety.
Oh, really?
I have a question. May I ask
Was
a
it?
question about the minutes? When somebody has called or emailed and said, I'm sorry, I cannot make it, is that considered an absence or is that excused?
I don't know.
I put them all excused when I do the attendance at the end of the year.
Okay.
They all notified us that they wouldn't be able to be here. Yeah.
Actually, I think it says absent on the tallies, but they are excused absences.
Okay.
I don't think it differentiates on the
No.
So they don't differentiate.
No.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. I just was wondering.
I've had the experience that when commissions have found it to become an issue, they will note in the minutes absence versus an excused absence. So, but it depends on the tone of the meeting and the communication with the chair and or staff.
It used to be a lot different when years ago when people were knocking down doors to volunteer for things. Not so much anymore. So yes, they used to have that rule 3 and out or something. But it's a long time past.
Right.
Anything else in the minutes?
No. Make a motion to approve the minutes as amended. Revised.
Second.
All in favor of the minutes as amended or revised? Aye.
Aye.
Please have me as abstained since I was not present for the meeting.
Hey, Maureen,
We'll have to vote on it again.
Yeah, because that's only 3. So does that count?
That's fine. For minutes, it's fine. The
minutes,
simple
it's fine.
majority for minutes is fine.
Okay.
Simple majority of those present.
Thank you. So going back to the development where you had the modified comments,
Mhm.
made me think of a couple things. So I don't know if this maybe be classified under use of town land, maybe possible. But so we probably talked about it before about this development, but so the pond itself, you know, if their trail goes back there, realistically, they're going to be done with their development before anything happens on the town side. And that's a liability town, right? The pond, steep slopes, trail. Just thinking. Also,
Yeah, I mean, it backs up to a number of properties. So,
right, but now we're talking about the trail going through there or to it. And also, can we get the permanent, property markers saying at the line
yeah,
there?
you had actually, I had noted that on my sheet to ask for limit of town property signage, the limit of one way or the other.
Yeah, or town of Berlin, it's technically not open space, but town property, whatever. But something a little more substantial than a little 4x4 sign that can be ripped off the tree. But anyway,
I think that's typically what, only, a typical sign is typically what the state uses when you're, trespassing, or water company would use as well. I mean, that's pretty typical for that size.
Well, how
We
about,
have a fairly
I thought you were
small
doing
sign.
4x4 posts that are sunk into the
4x4
ground,
posts with
and
a,
then
yeah,
put the sign on top or something.
yeah, that's what the subdivision regulations call for conservation easement limit,
Mhm.
for conservation land limit.
Well, maybe the
But we
developer
could, that.
would like to do that too. I think you're right, Guy. Until there's an actual easement for the town and off-road parking, nothing's gonna happen. Not to mention, it's pretty rugged.
I mean, it's wet. Most of it. Yeah. Or at least the majority of it, that are.
Makes sense.
Do
Thank you.
you have only because you guys know open space a little bit better than I, as far as, range of sight, walking and whatever, distance between markers that you might suggest?
I don't know what the town's been doing. I mean, you have to go
Because it's pretty much just, if you look at,
private property that you want to post.
I would
It's
think
pretty close together. Whether
the,
it's 100 feet.
you can
or-
see that this is the,
Those
their
are-
property line now, which is a straight line. So typically when we're looking at easement lines, there might be a lot of jogs in it. So therefore at each angle point is where they're required to put those conservation easement signs or whatever that go with the open space subdivisions and whatnot. In that this is a straightaway, I was thinking, probably don't just want them at the corners, because then good idea if the trail's putting you in the middle. But I'm just trying, I was just trying to get a gauge of it. I can look for best practices as well. I
It's a
just
good
didn't know
question.
if one
I
of
don't
you
know.
might know
What do they do on the other side?
So
the
they're
other
here,
side of
so
it, what's
so over
there? Do they
here-
have markers on that side that designate?
so this property I'm pretty familiar with. It was Premier Limo and is now Smart Feed. I think they're calling Bright Feed is what they're calling it now. So they just redeveloped this somewhat. They rebuilt the building on the same footprint and then added it's a manufacturing now. But we noted when we were studying this that there had been use of the town land over here. Looked like maybe they picked there a little and whatnot from that.
So but there are no markers there.
Not that I'm aware of.
No, and the only reason we're talking about it now is because they're talking about trails that
Right.
go
Oh,
close
okay.
to it. And then
I was just wondering if there'd be something that you could look at from that side and apply it to
good question.
the new side, but if there aren't, then.
No, I don't believe there are any markers. I don't know that anybody else along
That's,
there
that's right along there too, boy.
goes back there because this is be more rugged and more wooded. It's right here that when the consultant went out and walked this, they found fishing line and some other evidence of use of the pond.
Because you could actually, in the off hours, if you knew that existed, like on a Saturday or Sunday, someone could go to that building, park there, and then go fishing.
There had been,
Well,
there
that's private
had
property,
been
but yes.
encroachment uses
Right.
at one time. People had been parking
That's
at
the
the end of the
issue,
cul-de-sac
access.
or through here,
Yeah.
where the town has access, or rather where it abuts to town property is at the end of the street, and this, you can't traverse it around at the end of Woodlawn. That was found not to be a place where the terrain and the wet through here, you can't get all the way around to the pond. Again, sorry, I'm giving everybody a headache with my zooming. There's access right here. This is access across this parcel that has a gate to get into the water tank. But that's, again, private property that people go through.
Yeah, when it's
So,
closed.
They
I
have,
That's why
walked,
you went through there.
yeah, I went through there, yeah, and the people at the business
Lynch.
didn't, yeah.
And those other buildings that are along that.
Woodlawn,
No, up higher, the tan building.
On the turnpike.
Are those
These?
Yeah.
Oh, no,
no,
those are,
these are,
that far, or-
this is underneath the utility wires.
they were
This is
working.
utility
Okay.
staging.
Oh, okay, so those are.
So that's all gone.
Those are not buildings.
Oh.
Where's the pump house?
Right here, I think. You mean the one up on the turnpike?
Yeah.
Up here.
Oh, that's
Yeah, it's
four,
up on,
four,
it's
the next
right
development.
there, where that dirt
Right
road.
here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, they showed
right there.
that dirt road.
Okay. I have my landmarks now. Know where we are.
So I believe that they presented at Planning and Zoning. They presented at Planning and Zoning Commission last week. I believe in their presentation for 550, 554, they have surplus parking, noting that the potential for future public. Again, not a lot of spaces, and whether or not surplus is surplus in apartments when you might need it for guests or what have you as well. That's something that will still be discussed, I assume.
All right, thank you. I apologize for remembering after the fact. Late than never. Okay, so Maureen, Silver Ridge Owners Association.
So the Silver Ridge, did you bring the plans? About this plan. So Silver Ridge is on the Berlin Turnpike, and they get back to GIS to show everybody which development is Silver Ridge. We have an address. So
Silver Ridge, lots 25, 25A, lots 150.
It's right before the Hawthorne, right? Is that the one?
or after. That's
Well, I
gas.
guess if you're coming
It'd be mine. Okay, so if you're on the Berlin Turnpike, the Hawthorne
is up right there.
right there.
The parking area.
The first part, the first area that's got the parking. That's probably it. And then
Yep, that's the Hawthorne.
And then Silver Ridge.
So right here is the Hawthorne. You're going a little further down, just past it. So you really have to make a U-turn at the intersection to get back and go in. It's Hawthorne Drive, Rosewood Lane, Sea Green Drive. This whole development that's
nice.
through here. If I see how you can see the yellow is how much is encompassed. There are multifamily or connected units down when you first come in along Cypress, Honeysuckle, along Hawthorne Drive right at the beginning, and then they become single family units, freestanding units, but they are all units. It is a condo development. You can see by the size of it, it's all the one development. So this application, actually, that what has happened is
Karen, you could see that too?
I'm just gonna zoom it to the right size somewhat. Go back to the base map because it's like easier to see. And then go to the site plan. So what happened was this was approved in the early 2000s as an entire phased project with different sections. And this first section, the Glen, the conservation areas and common areas were delineated and filed on the land records. As they went through the rest of the development, the Woodlands, the Summit, I think they have one other name that they used through here as well. You can see where there are conservation easement areas in red and what should be common areas in green. Now, what happened was that some of these areas have become used over the last 20 years. The documents weren't all filed. The developer didn't finish the project himself completely. The units up here at the Summit were substantially finished by individual sale of the units and then built, I believe. I know in the years I was here, I've CO'd a number of the units along here and in this area. This area over here was maintained, I believe, from the beginning as grass when it was listed as a conservation area by the original proposal. Again, no final site plan was ever done, no final as-built plan. The units were individually as-built for each unit. So what the Homeowners Association has found over the last number of years is that there were either encroachments into the edge of the units. I'll just pick on one that you can see where an addition was shown on their unit site plan or unit plot plan that was still within the confines of their unit. But the Homeowners Association had a whole new survey done of the entire complex and found that there were places where the deed description and a comprehensive survey did not coincide with each other for what was actually built. So what they're looking to do now is the Homeowners Association, like I said, have gotten this new survey done of the entire complex. They're looking to reconcile these encroachment areas that you have in different places, as well as properly label recreation areas for where people do walk their dogs, play bocce, whatever, and the conservation easement areas where there might be water through, there may be trees that have been left, and make those stands of trees actually remain where the limits are now. I haven't studied this yet. We do expect it, thinking on the November agenda for Planning and Zoning Commission, but before your next meeting, we've had a number of meetings with them, staff, our staff as well as wetland engineering staff, and walked the property a bunch of times. 3, I think, times I've walked the property with the homeowners association. And I believe it's an even trade-off. They're not losing conservation area. They're just adjusting the lines of the conservation area from that original plan back in the early 2000s to what is actually in the field. There was an area through here where, I think it's through here, where some trees had to be taken down because they were starting to hit people's houses. And then people, you know, they mowed around them where they would have actually gone into the conservation area. And so some trade-offs. My recollection when I first started was it was very important to have this, get it on here, you can kind of see it, the loop, so the conservation goes all around the exterior or the border of the property to the east, because this borders that steep slope that you're referencing before and goes up to more conservation land up there, or town owned land, I believe it is, at the top.
So, Maureen, are they, what's the bottom line? Are they taking existing conservation easement property and doing something with it?
No, easement documents weren't filed.
Meaning
So
that there aren't any technical easements there?
Right, they're on the site plans that are, you know, so they're part of the record plan that they're conservation. This project has not come to complete fruition where it gets closed out and all the documents get filed. They weren't done with the early phases. So now looking to fix it and get it done and wrapped up properly.
Okay, so they're looking to fix it with what changes from the original plan?
So the changes that are shown on here. So if you look right here, new recreation area.
And what was that before?
It had to be conservation.
Yeah, I believe that was conservation area, but I think the screen here is
what?
I think there's conservation area that has become, that was green area. It did the opposite as well.
So the pink is conservation easement area.
Yes.
The green is
common.
And the purple or blue, whatever that is there, is going to be new.
Recreation.
It's going to turn into new green.
Yes.
Okay.
But it is green now.
I'm just.
Like,
they're using it.
They're using it
Well,
as grass.
Well, that doesn't mean it.
Yeah, no. I mean,
but they want to make it official.
right. I mean, there has to be something that they were concerned about to spend the money to do a survey.
There
without
were
the town requiring.
well, we had an issue that we brought up at the end of Rosewood because this was conservation and this
Property, house.
unit had encroached into it, but it was also being maintained as grass from the time I got here. It was grass, and it was like, well, but that's supposed to be conservation. Let it go wild, and it's regular. Or
is that what the purple?
passive
Is that what the purple?
That's what this
Are
purple is.
Is purple where they encroached?
So on the other lots above that too, that's where they encroached.
Yeah.
What's going to happen to that? Is that being reverted to the property owner?
No. So it's
keep
one
going.
property owner.
Keep going up to 207, 222, 221 on the other side.
Yeah.
Those purple, what happens to those?
Oh,
slots?
so those pinky ones will go to those property owners I'm sorry, I was looking at this as purple, not the pink.
So they've had.
So these will go to the unit owners because the units,
It's like any other.
the units encroached into, so they're,
Wow,
the,
sure did.
each unit had its own plot plan. So when building permits come in, they came with what their unit was, and it doesn't coincide with what the new survey for the entire property had as the limits of the unit.
Okay, forget about the new survey. Like, how did they build up? How did they?
The plot plan showed that they were within their unit. When they came for the addition to be put on these, which sometimes is a deck or
multiple
a enclosed
plans
porch.
that existed that people used.
So were there mistakes made by the town?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, Karen.
Were there mistakes made by the town when they looked at these plot plans and they didn't recognize the area as conservation easement?
No, I believe the plot plans didn't coincide with the overall survey for the property. So for instance, this unit would come in with only the extent of their unit shown,
Like
and we're allowed to build an addition.
So they go to the building department for a permit, and they show their
unit going all the way to here, or going at least to here, because there was no one plan. They're done as individual because they're each CO'd individually because they're individual
I guess that's probably part of
dwellings.
the issue is that the original developer
didn't go through, didn't follow.
Yeah, so they've had 22 years to settle in to something without having to make it formal. And now they want the new plan and to represent how they've decided to use it over the years, rather than what was used as an approval for the overall project.
I think that's very well put.
Yeah, I was thinking about making a comment on this, that if they want to keep the properties that they really didn't deserve having, the magenta colors, then really there should be a commensurate amount of property that they're willing to give up and leave it be a conservation area and not just a new recreation area.
So like that's what I believe they did that. And that's where I haven't done my full analysis, but that's what we were talking about when we were having meetings with them.
Okay.
Was that they could not lose area or lose area beyond what was determined to be appropriate. We've been doing this for like 5 years. So let me try to remember some of the conversations we've had over that time. But I don't think there's a minimum conservation percentage for this type of development.
No, but it would be easy to look at
didn't
what was
have the original, so what they're doing is going to the Planning and Zoning Commission to ask that what they proposed here be appropriate. And I don't think there was
with no reference to the original.
No, I think we do have a reference. And like I said, I'm sorry, we just had not a lot of time.
This is out of the barn. Right?
Well, I think
they don't have to approve it either.
Right.
What they want, they could come back with something else and say, come back again, and put some more conservation land in there, open space land, whatever you want to call it.
I mean, that's my only concern. I would say because of the mess that it is, that, it's hard to say, oh, they got to do something different or they got to tear stuff down.
Yeah.
So, they get the new lines. They get to add that in for their property. And over here.
So the new conservation area should grow by that much too, right?
Right, but I think even beyond that, I mean, this has to be taken of conservation because they didn't have anything that was new recreation. So those are
it would be interesting to see an overlay.
Pretty big chunks.
Maureen, I know that's a lot, but it would be really
I think that's what they're trying to do.
See an overlay of what
I have a
saying
bunch
new
of
recreation is versus what the old.
So, yeah,
conservation-
because you don't know how much of the pink is new, right?
All the this? Yeah. Well, I mean
that could be part of the original plan too, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm assuming
that probably
that
went right down to there
because of their wording, you know, conservation easement, and then this would be new recreation area.
Sure.
It had to be something before that. What was it
Conservation.
going to be? It was going to be conservation.
Of course it is.
I just don't see any reason why, because the property ended up getting built as kind of a mess and not really following the original plans in the end, that we just write off the, I mean, there's a stream right here. They're talking about restoration and stuff, but I mean, who knows what that's going to be.
Why does it have to be restored? Whatever.
I don't know. I mean, that might be what they're doing. Oh, we're taking some, so we're gonna do some kind of mitigation.
14 by 0.66 acres will be conservation.
Recreational area. Right. Right. It might be, and they're only saying we're going to keep this part, but you have the stream that I don't know. I think it goes off over into this property.
You can see the stream on your plan. Can you see the stream?
No. Right in through here.
Oh, is that what this is?
Yeah.
That's the blue.
Yeah.
The blue line is the stream. Or green, kind of green on this plan.
Yeah.
And then it goes.
And then I assume it goes up. Right. Right. When they first started this, they had problems with runoff. I'm pretty sure this is the one that caused the stream over that goes into Belcherville to turn brown every so often, that it goes down into the industrial park because it's high elevation. It just kind of went down into there, and that's where that stream starts. It goes behind CRC's old property. And that when I moved here, you know, shortly after, you know, oh yeah, it's turning brown. Trying to backtrack it. I could backtrack it to the industrial park, but I didn't know where it went from there.
Sure.
And they had trouble with a spot up in a containment area up on the hill.
Sure. Before they built these, when they were in
I think in the construction. Yeah. Well, I mean,
Maureen, I think what we're trying to say is
you don't want to lose conservation land.
Yeah,
that was already dedicated, like acre for acre, or for square foot per square foot.
Yeah, that's.
Don't want overall loss of.
Shouldn't be.
Right? I put words in your mouth, but is that what you were saying? That was kind of what I wrote here.
I mean, I don't think the town
loss.
Yeah, I don't think the town has much choice but to adjust, you know, with the purple ones.
I mean, the purple.
And that's just loss.
Yeah.
You know,
but make it up or just not.
Yeah.
If they're looking for more recreation area, that's a choice that they're making now. That doesn't have to happen. The magenta parts where they've already taken over some places they shouldn't have, but you don't have to say they have the right to do
I believe they added some conservation limits. I'm just looking for them, and actually I think it might be on a different plan.
Yeah, because it doesn't. I would be most concerned with this area.
And
near the stream.
So can you tell me what area you're talking about there?
It's the new recreation area that on the plan
to the west,
just above. Yeah, I got to see whether west of what's called the Summit and properties 302 to 309.
Right. So the protection of this stream in that area and maximizing the conservation, the related conservation area.
I mean, it's closer here, you know, and
that's cut.
Yeah,
it's already.
And that's already, but.
It's so weird that they have this little bit of open common area green, and then they want to take make all of this new recreation.
That's gotta have something to do with the property, I guess.
Yeah.
So on the screen, I have the blow up sheets, which I think you also have too, the separate sheets, which show each of the sections in a smaller, you know, each section. That's the best way to put it. That.
Right.
I want to get to the one you were just looking at.
So Paul, no, you're not, not in that section. Yeah, right there, yeah.
Did this one?
Well, you can
Yeah,
see
that's
it
the
there.
one I think that
You
the
can see it.
stream goes through.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, there's, yeah. See the blue line? What's the other dashed red line that goes on the bottom, below and above that?
Which line? I'm sorry.
Right there where your
What's
cursor
that
is.
dotted red line?
This line is the limit of the wetland.
And then the smaller dotted red lines going, what's that? Ones that are going down, the red that are going down, that goes up towards the open
green.
space.
No,
Down.
Here.
no, up,
They're closer together, little
These?
dots. Nope.
keep going up.
No, yeah.
Oh,
Keep going.
this one.
Yeah,
yeah.
what's that? The red dotted lines there.
So it's
I think it's going to be on the bigger sheet. That might be a match line. I'm
So
thinking
the
it's a
limit of
match
the
line.
wetland
Oh, okay.
is pretty close to that creation. All right.
That would typically be the way you show a match line, but
Okay.
I don't want to speak for it, but to get to another plan,
Right. That makes sense.
except not getting to another plan, so not sure.
Are you good with that guy? That kind of way?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see. I don't know.
Just
I mean-
for FYI, one of the other changes they've made is on the original plan, for instance, when you're talking these multi-unit buildings,
Mhm.
they had access through some of them, common area between the two units. So each unit only had a limited amount of space to its side, and they merged that so that those go to individual units instead of common elements. To walk between buildings. In, like this area and this area, just trying to give you an overview of as much as I
These
So,
guys?
so,
can.
yeah,
Is that what these
yeah,
are? And these.
so, yeah. All right, I mean, that's the, you have some wetlands here, you have, you know, that seems to be less. I'm assuming that this green might be all new too, but, you know, it's common.
Open common areas.
Yeah. But,
They're calling it restricted common elements.
but I mean, it'll be interesting to see
Yeah.
that they may have already done something to this property, this area, to make it a new recreation area.
So
Might mean that-
my recollection is that from the last walk, that most of the spaces they're showing as recreation have been maintained as
Just grass.
grass.
Well, maybe that should.
Can always revert.
I've been through that neighborhood a number of times and it looks like just grass. It doesn't look like you're seeing a baseball field or anything like that at all.
All right. I mean, that's the other stuff.
That's, they don't have playgrounds.
Is it still adult? So age restriction?
There's limits as to what we can restrict as far as age. I don't remember that one.
When it started in the 90s, so wasn't it like
As an
over
age
55?
restricted.
Yeah, that was the hot thing back then.
Right, yeah.
To me, there's a lot of, there is a fair number of conservation area here, and a lot of it's broken up, which I don't like to see. But that's why I'm two reasons why I'm concerned about this one is that that's where your existing water course is. and it's the longest contiguous piece, and it allows a corridor from the other property, and once you go across the street here off to wherever else, you know, this doesn't has a little bit of a corridor there, but these, you know, animals aren't going to know that that's a conservation area and use that. But
the one around
the one along the stream is going to be the place where most of your animals are going to be, and should be the conservation area. And it looks like initially it was a big block, and I would say that it is.
It almost looks like they just want, because there's properties here.
Yeah.
They want to have something that's like maintained or mowed.
Yeah.
And
well, they have something right here.
That's what they should have, you know, but they want maybe to look at. Who knows? Yeah.
But that's, I mean, town's going to do what they're going to do.
Yeah,
but I think that's a reasonable request, you know, and for comments that
corridor through
along
the stream be maintained and restored
as open space.
Yeah.
It's conservation area.
Yeah. You know, this doesn't really matter. As it, you know,
as it more than likely was.
Just pointing out when you were talking about and just comment, this area along the easterly border is up the slope adjacent to the open space. So I believe their unit lines go for the most part into the hill itself, and then it's
and then
the open space is up at the top, or the conservation area is up at the top. The elevation on there. So, and I can show you that's what I was just doing.
Goes up there.
No, and they're not mowing that.
You can't climb it. It's too
right. But that's what that contiguous open space is actually. The hill and the top, not people's back of their units directly. Right. Some of it, like here, it does go down to where they've maintained lawn. We've had some issues in the back of individual units with who's where.
The individuals cut their own grass. It's not the condo association.
I believe it's the condo.
Yeah. Is the land owned by the homeowner or no?
It's a homeowners association.
So
that has the entire parcel. Right. You know, the way the assessor necessarily lists them all.
So is it like a planned unit development, like a PUD, where you just get your house, but the property and everything around it is maintained?
It's condo. Right.
Everything on the outside is
right.
Yeah. So if I was to, I think I can pull up an individual unit. If I'm on the GIS, I can pull up an individual unit or the whole entire complex. So this would be the assessor's card. I'd be able to pick up the field card for the one unit or the one that shows everything.
Okay. If you can, so that's what that is then. It's the yard. It's not all mowed. Their backyards are, because that's sea green.
Right.
Right in there, and there's
this area.
So so that would be even worse to have it as a new recreation area,
which means they got to cut.
Yeah.
I think we'd have to look to see where
you got some of it. You have some of it that's
goes into each of the lot lines too,
but not really the area that they just defined.
Yeah, they want what they want.
Yeah.
Or does it, like this unit, for instance, is this distance from the back of their house to this line the same as on here, or is it much greater? It's already encroached within. I think that's what they were trying to reconcile, was to get the line on the plan to match what's been owed. Again, we can double check that. Yeah. I haven't done an overlay of this. So we did it with them. I think the last meeting we had was early spring. I think it was mucky out, if it was even this year. Last time we went out walking. So when it's taken them several years to get the new survey done, because they wanted a complete survey of the entire property and each unit located on that survey, and each unit area delineated for their land area, for lack of unit area.
So basically the survey showed that they've been encroaching in multiple locations,
right?
And they want the town to adjust so that it would revert to either the homeowner or the association. So it wouldn't be an encroachment anymore.
But I do think there was some wetland, I mean, some conservation in other areas that was give back. I want it to be,
you don't know, you can't see what
over in here. If I remember correctly, maybe some over here, but again, I have to layer the plans myself again.
Yeah,
because I thought there was a place on here where they had told us approved square footage and new proposed, and I'm not easily finding it tonight.
Because I don't understand. They have a recreation area that's in the book, and then they have open common areas that are green. And I don't understand what their use is going to be. Is there there's different uses for those two types of things?
Probably a common area means that anybody can walk through behind your yard, or
right? Open common area. But then the recreation area would be open to everybody too.
To play.
Yeah. Almost sounds like
it sounds like a distinction.
And you know, the town does have, you know, hillside and stuff. Yeah, there's town and some land trust property.
Yeah, well, to the east.
All right. I mean, that's,
when does that go to? Does it go to planning and zoning soon?
We're anticipating at this point, it hasn't been scheduled yet. I'm anticipating November 3rd. Last Thursday's meeting, we knew we were going to have a number of items that were continued or expected to be, and we're trying to work schedules so that no single P&Z meeting is as overwhelming as we've had in the recent past. Yeah. So they've given me some latitude with scheduling and not scheduling so that it's reasonable.
All right. Thank you, Maureen. Is there anything we need to look at in the next one? Roll it.
probably only if they're
two-car garage.
Only if they're
so,
adding to their footprint.
So let me bring this one up because I do just want to show you that property. Back. This is the garage, pretty close to this area.
Yeah, you gotta get south of
right here, I believe 2576, is that the right address? 2576, yes. So zoom in on this garage. The two parcels was a lot of people refer to it as Bishop's Garage at the south end of the turnpike.
Lakeview.
Lakeview. Is this one the Lakeview one? There's another one just south of it. I get the two confused.
That's the place that's the antique place?
No. Car dealers. They're used auto dealer and repairers.
Oh.
both of these together and own together. But this is one parcel, this is another. They have a concrete pad out behind the 25, the one at 2576, that they're looking to build the 2 more bays, I believe. Yeah, 2 garage bays back here in this area. This has been substantially cleaned, and with the new dealer's license and owner group, I think some of the owners are the same, but they've modified how it's being run. And this is a site plan to, I don't, unfortunately, sorry, Karen, I don't have this one scanned. I looked for it and I couldn't find that it was scanned. So it's a garage there. You should have it.
Just a quick question.
Yeah, but I don't even know if we have to open it up. I mean,
yeah, if that's what it is, just a quick question. The property to the north is the state of Connecticut. Hopefully, in the future, the town property. Did they clean out that stuff from that property?
I believe so.
Okay.
Again, I've got to go out and do new site inspection with this.
I mean,
but
my only concern if they're probably just doing stuff that it's already.
They've done a lot to clean up the property.
The only thing was, and I wasn't sure how far the property went at first, and it's there, it's further away, but that is a stream, the wetland up on the state property, and a brook that runs down. So
yeah, so this property does have substantial amount of wetlands on it.
Yeah, so that would have been my concern on that.
Property to the rear is mostly wetland.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't.
That's all right. It looks like it's already semi-approved where they're gonna put the 2 bays anyway. So
yeah.
They must have had to have a permit just to put the concrete pad, no?
Yeah.
Just to put that concrete pad.
So a concrete pad does not need, paving doesn't need a permit from us.
Now they want to build a garage on top.
Right.
Yeah. But if it extended down that arm of the property or something,
different.
But other than that, I don't.
And it's better if they've cleaned it up a little. It's a better improvement. No comment. Thank you. H2O Farm, Chamberlain Highway. Hoop houses.
So if you not hoop houses, they are. It's a 5-acre greenhouse. You may remember
hydroponic. Right?
Last year they came in with a text amendment to allow for large scale greenhouses on the Chamberlain Highway in that zone. And that's the zone that's the POD, which was, planned office development. The infrastructure has never been put in that prompts development. So they came in with a text amendment to allow large scale greenhouses, and this is their proposed greenhouses. The text amendment is very specific about setbacks and a lot of other concerns with regard to the setbacks from the front, screening along Chamberlain Highway. They will be providing a, lack of a better word, kind of a normal sized well, almost household size, very smaller scale well for use of their, the potable needs they have on the property for sanitary, for a kitchenette or whatever that the employees may have, and that kind of thing. The water for the hydroponics is substantially recycled water. So their presentation concluded that they don't need a lot of water, but they'll be coming, they've got agreements with Meriden to go off their raw water line that goes through there, because that doesn't need to be potable water. And whether or not that comes to fruition and goes through all the channels it needs to for legalities, etc. But there is evidently, and again, I'm in the midst of starting my review of this, but one of the conversations I had with them was they found a line that went into this property that perhaps at one time was used by the farm that was there from that Meriden water line. That's what they were investigating the last time I had a conversation with them about the line as to where it was coming from and what it was doing, but they have been in conversations with Meriden. Apple Lane goes along the side of it to a couple of residential properties in the rear. Yeah, I don't know. Do you want to look at the land?
It's going to be very tall.
I
remember somebody talking about how tall.
They're a couple of stories tall, but they're not really two, I think. They're no taller than allowed. I'm thinking it's the same as the zone allows, or rather the residential zone across the street would allow for a house.
Oh.
There's barns on the property to the south that are probably about the same height, although they're skinny long properties. Skinny long, what were probably chicken coops.
Oh, those.
I imagine. And they are translucent buildings. So they are greenhouse style buildings, but you can see they're, each one is close to 5 acres in size. They're huge buildings.
That plan shows some screening and along the Chamberlain Highway.
Yeah.
Going back to the water, where does the wastewater?
They'll have a septic system. Let me see if I can get to an elevation.
Be a lot of waste.
Well, it's always waste, especially.
I don't know which one. I don't see it. Is there elevations in there?
Yeah, that's true.
I believe they used.
So this is one building. There'll be a drive between them and then another building.
Yeah. So it's
No. Well, that's what we read. A second. You know what? I would have.
Let's try that.
Yeah. Yep. Replacing pressure.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's further up than I thought.
5. So you said each building will be 5 acres.
Close to 5 acres.
Yes. Yeah, I was thinking like.
That's
Down by where the
I can't think.
better ups.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the banner ups did go down, but that's not the property they secured.
Yeah.
They secured a property to them.
So it's not the same guy that we're waiting for our husband from.
No, he didn't get this one did not get to contract with Benner. They looked at this property instead.
So. And are we any further with that easement there?
No, I did get some contact from them, but
So probably have no comment. The language and stuff, I mean, they could do this. So.
It's the way it works. Look for a change.
Does this have to go to other commissions as well for their review? Water.
so when a site site plan goes to the Planning and Zoning Commission, we route it this package that you guys get. It goes to any of the number of people that's on this list. At minimum, it goes to the planning office, obviously, the building department, fire marshal, engineering, water control, if applicable, health district, if applicable. Inland wetlands is part of it, goes to both engineering and wetlands as separate. separate and
And
together
like you were
reviews.
talking about, where
because-
does the water go, the used water go? You're saying it's gonna go into their septic, right? Any water that they're going to,
I'll have to remember, I'll have to look at the
I assume
presentation
that
again to see where their hydroponic water flows to. Their septic water, their
that's-
facilities
that's
for their
small.
bathrooms
Right,
and
that's
stuff will
small.
be. Yeah,
they're-
I got the comments back from the health district today that said that their septic system for the use of the sanitary facilities on site has been approved.
Right, but is that, it can't be 100% efficient system, closed system where every drop
No,
of
so we
water-
do have drainage report and
Okay.
all those reports. I
Where
haven't
does it go?
gotten through them all yet.
Right.
I
Maybe
can't remember what our pre-development
dry
meeting
well
said about
there
them.
in the north part.
Yeah, I mean, that water won't be pristine either, full of everything, so.
So I'll read a portion of their narrative.
Nutrients that are in soil.
They get, no, you didn't get the narrative. I'm sorry. We should have sent this off to you.
That's all right, so it's good. All right,
They were required not to, part of the text amendment required that the proposal not affect the aquifer negatively. And that's where it comes from, having the connection to the line, the Meriden line. The facility will feature recycling of water, the use of combined heat and power plant and stormwater mitigation system. The facility will also maintain the agricultural use of the property, supplying fresh blah, blah. I thought that sentence was going to tell us the answer to your question. I'm sorry, it didn't.
that's all right, Maureen.
Thanks.
Don't scan it.
Well, but I mean, it is, yeah.
If there was, sensitive wetlands around there. It's a
Well,
big
I mean,
water
it's
course.
an area that depends on wells. So if they're putting anything in subsurface.
so the
They have
people
to
that
be-
live out there have wells, they're not on any sewer. Their own septic and well.
Could be a pretty
I mean, there's
efficient
different
system.
impact than a regular agricultural.
Yeah, it could be better than somebody that was doing regular farming.
Yeah,
And having that stuff
Spraying,
go into the
yep,
ground, so.
yep.
might be better.
maybe right. Want to add this guy?
Hoping to add another site plan. Let's see, for 1041 to 1055 Farmington Avenue. Old Vets. LLC.
Oh, so Fran must have done that. That's right on Farmington Avenue, where the,
Oh, second.
All in favor of adding it? Aye.
Aye.
So moved.
Yes.
Yep, I saw it, Tom.
Okay, got it.
Thank you.
Do
Unanimous.
you have that one?
Thank you.
so, no, I don't, because I would have probably left it off the agenda. It's right, it's down in the center of town where Blockbuster and CVS is.
Oh,
So it's a substantially developed piece of property, and you've asked that I not necessarily include all those that
No,
are
as a matter of
substantially
fact.
developed.
I got
Yeah.
it on my desk today.
all right.
So
So they're just gonna, rehab the old building there?
Is it the Blockbuster building?
the Blockbuster
Oh,
building
good.
for the purpose of a
Well,
fast food.
it includes a bunch of, right?
1041.
And the property to the north of it, that they'll be modifying the driveway with an easement onto their contiguous
back.
property to the north,
North being along that.
Portage.
along
going
Porter's
along
Pass.
Yeah.
Yeah, that property in the back along Porter's Pass.
Oh.
I'm getting there, Hold on.
That's all right. I think he's beginning.
So right here, I believe I'm sharing the screen. So this is the property with CVS and what was Blockbuster on it.
Yeah.
When it was originally, when the Blockbuster building was originally designed, it was for a bank, and it did have a drive-through, but it was never built for that. So the original design allowed for traffic around the building. However, the bank was abandoned. This property to the north is owned by Colvest Kensington LLC as well. And so the driveways already are on that property, and they'll be realigning that along there as well. This has an old garage on it. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but it goes behind the properties on Farmington. So, like I said, I would have left it off as a, you know, substantially developed site without wetlands adjacent to it. But if you have comments, I'm glad to include them.
CVS is staying, right? It has nothing to do with CVS.
Right, it has to do with the FD block.
Wow.
Yeah,
You know, this is Karen Pagliaro. If I'm remembering from years ago when they were, you know, putting in that building, wasn't there some stipulation that they needed trees or some sort of border around that building? Do you remember that, Michael and Guy?
I can't say that I recall that, but
I swear they had to do that. That was
now we have the volunteer park next to it, right?
I'm sorry.
right. Right.
It's not through the parking. It's behind the building by the park there, because I know. Remember, Juniors was part of building that park, so I swear they had to have some type of you know, barrier.
Do you mean screening between the park and the parcel?
Yes.
Is that what you're talking about? So along this property line?
Yes.
Okay, you think there's a requirement in checking the old site plan?
Yeah, I really believe that was part of it.
So is this Starbucks going in? Which was a
starting a rumor again.
Well, because you know what did it in was they wanted the drive-through.
I remember that.
And now they have the drive-through.
Right.
And it would go, I didn't think there was that much space.
Well, they had the drive-through back then too.
Behind the building.
Yeah.
It was
So what does
it was gonna
Colvest
be a
want to
bank.
do with it? Is Colvest what kind of business?
It doesn't say.
No, but they're going to put two. They're going to divide the Blockbuster building into two
Maureen would
areas.
have to kill us if she did. She told us so.
And the one that's out by the road is going to be, it says proposed coffee.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's, I mean,
We
that's
don't
like,
need cheese.
and it
Two
looks like
independent
the-
coffee shops.
the-
You got a Dunkin', you got those two nice coffee shops. Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
and from the cut coming in on,
Up here,
oh,
Porter's
yeah,
Pass, yep.
it looks like it's going to follow that pavement to the left and then go around the
Going around
building,
this
you
way.
know.
That I
And
know.
they show like
That's what the
15 cars
yeah.
being able to be in that.
That's
And
what
then
the
that's
state
doing,
requires for their,
Really? Is it
that's
that many?
what the engineer told me the state requires that. I think it's the state that requires that,
no employees.
stacking
Stacking?
ability.
Yeah,
on site.
so.
Yeah.
I liked it. You didn't need to see it.
So it doesn't, it looks like, you know, there's not much else.
And the
different, right?
building will be used for,
Right.
it's a double tenant space,
Right,
at
and
least.
they
There's
they
two
don't have
tenants
anything,
that'll be
they
in
have
there.
one that's, that one. They have somebody that's interested. Interesting, I mean, because the drive-through seemed to be the big deal before for some of the businesses.
Hey, Tom. Just in time for.
It was on one of the drive-through I recall, and I was not part of that review process, but it was a much more complex. It was Mary's Bakery site that I.
Yeah,
For,
yeah, I mean, right, it was that
It
one
was-
that they
did not
and they-
have space for
right,
a drive-through.
right.
You ever try getting out of there in the afternoon, CVS?
Yeah,
parking
I
lot?
remember that too.
Yeah, so it's still all the same
They're gonna
area.
have to have some type of traffic pattern that you can't come back out. I mean, even
New
cutting
coffee
in
place.
from Porter's
A new
Pass.
coffee.
So no comments from us.
Yeah,
Thanks.
no,
Blockbuster.
except the traffic.
No, I agree with you, Michael.
Except traffic will be a nightmare.
Yeah, we
Oh,
were just saying,
want a
but it
bakery
didn't have,
so
the space to put a drive-through. This was a bank to begin with, so.
The two bakeries, I've
The idea
I've
of a
approved at
drive-through.
least a couple of bakeries.
bad. San Remo didn't want to keep, I mean, they probably did okay,
Can't-
but they wanted their, what do you call it? If it's not retail, it's wholesale. They want to stay mostly wholesale and then just sell to a few places.
How were the birds?
But the one,
Was it the bird
they,
thing you did?
you know, part of them had moved across the street. And then,
Did you really?
and the other one
Nice.
on New Britain Road has changed hands a couple of times.
Yes. They never, once they, yes, yeah. now
And, you know, so they just aren't, you know, I signed off on the 2 free bakeries.
We had a great bakery up by Ferndale when I was like years ago.
Any comments, Guy? Anything? Anybody else got anything? Garden winding
Nothing.
down? Nothing?
Nothing. I assume everybody's, you know, enjoying the last of their season. And
Yeah, no
will
frost
be
yet.
winding down.
No frost yet.
You haven't heard anything.
There was a light one the other
Was
day.
there?
Yeah.
Not where I am. No frost.
And I guess the only thing with the garden, I did notice that they did bulldoze that area.
With the bolt,
Yeah. with
Get
all-
ready for that.
Yeah.
building.
that's a good idea.
What about the
How much-
porta potty? When is that leaving?
Karen just said something.
Sorry, I remember.
Karen's talking.
I'm sorry. Hi, Karen.
It's
Yes.
okay, Michael.
Go ahead. You have the floor.
Oh, sorry. Has that been removed yet? Usually right around October 1st. Maureen.
It's what,
I'm
Porta
sorry, we
potty?
couldn't. Oh, the porta
November
potty.
1st.
November 1st.
November.
Those are November 1st that the town does all the facilities at the same time.
Because it doesn't have to say that.
Well, now it's getting real warm, isn't it? You know,
Isn't
stay
it?
out. Yes.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor of adjournment?
Bye.
So moved. Thank you. All
Bye,
right.
everybody. Have a good evening.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye,
night,
thank
Karen.
you.
Bye.
Good night, Karen.
Good night.